Before there were guns, before maps divided nations, before foreign tongues tried to rename our rivers and mountains, Africa had her own guardians. They didn't sit in parliaments. They didn't rule with swords or coins. They listened to the winds, to the earth, to the voices buried deep beneath the soil. Burkina Faso remembers them. And now, the world is learning why they should never have been forgotten. Long ago, the Mossi, Bobo, Lobi, Gurunsi, and other proud nations of what we now call Burkina Faso didn't look up to skyscrapers or distant capitals for salvation. They looked to the land. They danced for rain. They whispered to trees. They buried secrets in the sand, where only the initiated could read them. When enemies came, they didn't just sharpen their spears. They summoned protection from realms unseen. The colonialists came and laughed at these traditions. They called it superstition. They called it backward. But now, even in the digital age, when drones fly and satellites spy, there are truths that even the modern world cannot erase. Truths that walk barefoot under the moonlight. Truths that wear charms made of crocodile teeth and speak in riddles known only to the spirits. In 2022, when Burkina Faso trembled, it wasn't just because of terrorists or failed governments. The land itself cried out. Blood soaked the fields. Schools were shut. Farmers fled. Trust in leaders evaporated like water in the Sahel sun. But then, from the silence, rose a man with steady eyes and a soldier's bearing. Captain Ibrahim Traoré. He didn't come shouting promises. He came with purpose. And behind his calm, a storm was brewing. Some called him the son of destiny. Others feared what he represented. But all eyes turned toward him. And walking behind him, silent as a shadow, was a figure known only as Gaddafi. Not much is known about Gaddafi. Some say he was found in a thunderstorm, lightning-marked and motherless. Others believe he emerged from the ancient forest with spirits in his blood. What is known is this. Gaddafi isn't just a bodyguard. He's a symbol. He follows not orders, but omens. He speaks rarely, but when he does, even commanders fall silent. His dark glasses hide more than eyes. They conceal an ancient fire. When whispers of assassination began circling like vultures, something unexpected stirred. From every region of Burkina Faso, old men started arriving. They didn't carry rifles. They carried bones wrapped in cloth, pouches of ashes, calabashes filled with secrets. Some limped, some were blind. But all walked with the confidence of those who've seen beyond this world. They called themselves nothing. But history will remember them as the 300. Not warriors of guns, but warriors of spirit. Juju men, seers, earthwalkers. They came to protect not just a man, but a mission. One by one, they gathered in the hidden courtyard behind the palace in Ouagadougou. Under the full moon, they formed a circle. In the center stood Gaddafi holding a calabash filled with palm oil and ash. No speeches, just silent ritual. Each man dipped his finger, marked his chest, spoke in tongues only the earth could understand. The leader of the 300, Baba Kuma from Banfora, raised his voice once. We do not serve a man. We serve the spirit that chose him. May bullets turn to sand. May poison become water. May the eyes of traitors go blind. And so it began, not a war with guns but with shadows. Dear subscribers, your support is what keeps this journey alive. If you believe in the power of Africa's story, if you believe our truth must be told in our own voice, thank you for being here. Like, comment, and share this story with someone who still doubts that Africa is rising, not just in cities but from the soul of the land itself. From that night, an invisible net was cast across Burkina Faso. The 300 didn't wear uniforms, but they took positions, some at bridges, others at borders. They whispered prayers into flames. They buried talismans where enemy boots might step. Some walked barefoot through deserts. Some melted into forest villages. They didn't wait for war. They stopped it before it could begin. They didn't pledge loyalty to Traoré the man. They pledged it to the land's calling, to the spirit that chose him as its vessel. That's why when a coup attempt emerged again in early 2025, funded, calculated, planned from within, it failed before it began. Every whisper was already heard. Every traitor already known. The moment the coup moved, Traoré's men struck like thunder. No hesitation, no mercy. Arrests followed. Silence returned. Traoré never addressed the nation about it. But the people knew. They brought yams and cola nuts to the gates. They sang. They danced. A woman claimed she saw a figure with glowing red eyes on the rooftop. No shadow. It was Gaddafi, she whispered. One of the 300, Taton from the Lobbyland, passed soon after. At his funeral, his body didn't decay. His eyes stayed open. Birds circled the sky in strange patterns. Baba Kuma said, "He has joined the spirit world fully. He watches from above now." Some of the 300 went home. Others stayed in Ouagadougou, still silent, still watching. They don't ask for gold. They don't ask for praise. Because they don't serve man. They serve memory, legacy, destiny. Burkina Faso still faces trials. The enemies of sovereignty haven't rested. But this land no longer stands alone. It is watched by eyes that do not sleep. It is guarded by hands that do not tire. You can't see them on camera, but you can feel them when the air shifts, when plans fall apart, when fear changes sides. Western journalists scratch their heads. Analysts write their reports. But there are things no report can explain. How a young captain rose and held his ground. How enemies keep failing. How the soil itself seems to resist surrender. That is because in this land, power is not in palaces. It is in the red earth, in the ancestors' songs, in the quiet footsteps of men who do not shout. Burkina Faso is not kneeling. It is standing tall, cloaked in spirits, shielded by sacrifice. And Gaddafi, he still walks beside the captain. His beads still warm, his eyes still hidden, not just as a protector but as a reminder. Those who walk with the ancestors do not walk alone. To those watching from beyond Africa, trying to calculate Traoré's next move, understand this. It is not just his move. It is the move of a nation that has awakened. A land that speaks through storms. A people that refuses to forget where real power lies. If you hear footsteps in the night, if you hear the rustle of beads, the whisper of feathers, the song of something ancient moving through the dark, know this. The 300 still walk. Gaddafi still watches. And Captain Traoré still leads. Burkina Faso will not bow. If this story moved you, share it. Let the world know that Africa has her own protectors, her own prophecies, her own warriors of spirit. Subscribe to Chronicle Traoré, where we bring you the truth they don't want you to see, from the soil to the soul. Africa is rising, not just with machines or policies, but with memory, with power, with the blessing of ancestors. And this is only the beginning.